Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. As promised, I'm giving you the Raw, partial superstars, and some very brief WWE news going on with former wrestlers and I call them wrestlerettes or former divas, whatever you want to call them. And here we go with the news first. Update on Buff Bagwell is he's breathing on his own following his car accident last Monday that caused him with serious injuries. Bagwell's mother, Judy, told TMZ.com that a breathing tube was removed 2 days after the accident and added that her son is able to eat solid foods now. It really helped that he's been contacted by friends, Judy stated, such as his good buddies, let's see, Scotty Riggs, and also former WCW star Glacier, Ray Lloyd. He's really feeling the love. The story states that Bagwell has spoken with Sting, Rick Steiner, Scott Steiner, Dallas Page, and others. Buff rolled his Jeep several times after suffering a seizure on Monday and suffered numerous other injuries, such as facial damage, and here's wishing him a speedy recovery. The WWE website states that an MRI revealed that John Cena has multiple strains but suffered no permanent structural damage. From the pay-per-view from Extreme Rules last night, and Cena updated his own status for tonight's Raw television show, making medical rounds now to find out what is up. Cena wrote on Twitter earlier, I will be on Raw to let everyone know. Follow him on Twitter.com, John Cena. That's Twitter.com/John Cena. All signs point to Cena working an injury angle as it pertains to the arm injury he was selling at the pay-per-view on Sunday night. And tonight's Raw could give us a ballpark idea of how much time he intends to take off, which apparently from Raw tonight may be none at all. Okay, so what was all that whining about last night? What a wuss, okay? Not really. I'm curious to see where they go from after Raw. I watched, I can see where they're going with it. It's another main event match. Surprise! Who it's against? But it may not be Brock Lesnar. Will Brock finish the job? If the idea is to give Cena some time off. Former WWE diva Chyna played in the She-Hulk in the Avengers porn parody. According to io9.com, there's a link from a porn parody trailer, and it's PG rated because they have their clothes on or whatever. They're wearing their uniforms. And thanks to .net reader Tim Cooley, that's also from ProWrestling.net. The story also has a preview video, which is what I was talking about, that is required viewing as far as I'm concerned. The movie itself, yeah, not so much. There's no nudity in the preview video, and you'll be happy to know that Chyna is apparently the worst actress in the movie, based on the clips she's in. Oh, and yeah, she's green. In more ways than one. Okay, and now for your dark match. A-Rye not on Raw. Well, he's in the dark match. He's not even on Superstars this week. And he lost to Dean Ambrose. Ambrose cut a pre-match promo about being the future of WWE. This guy is money on the mic. He's Rowdy Roddy Piper, Brian Pillman, and Scott Hall all rolled into one. He wrestles a very strong style and squashed Riley in about 3 minutes. Superstars taping, the arena only had like 100 people, was already 100% full. So they said there were plenty of Borgasm chants. Match number 1 for Superstars. Dolph Ziggler beat Mason Ryan. Ryan threw Ziggler around the ring and he bumped like a champ. Ziggler had Ryan in a front face lock for over 3 minutes. Ryan broke free and mounted a comeback. He charged at Ziggler real hard and missed and hit the post. Dolph won with a zigzag. Match number 2. Woo 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 defeated Michael McGillicuddy. brother got several woo-woo chants in, or woo-woo-woo, from women and children, and appeared to be quite over in Dayton, Ohio. Ryder won with a Rough Rider finish. Also, this is the first time WWE has been to the Nutter Center since the Bret Hart return show. That show had only about 60% full, and this show is standing room only. I wonder how much of that can be contributed to Brock Lesnar. Okay, and now for Raw. The show opened with Michael Cole using a million adjectives to describe how physical Brock Lesnar versus John Cena match was, and footage played of John Cena's speech regarding his injury. The opening video aired, and the captain noted that it was WWE Raw starring Brock Lesnar. It says John Roberts used the same show description while welcoming viewers. That's supposed to be Justin Roberts. Roberts introduced John Laryngitis, who headed to the ring, smiling and waving at his fans. Jerry King Lawler said he didn't think the way that he hoped last night. Cole disagreed. Laryngitis introduced Brock Lesnar, who came to the ring and said fans got to see him bring the pain firsthand. Just as he said he was going to do, Laryngitis was in the process of agreeing with Lesnar when Triple H's music played for the interruption. Triple H walked onto the stage wearing a suit and headed to the ring. Lesnar wasn't so happy. Laryngitis was still all smiles. Triple H offered his hand to Lesnar. Brock didn't take it right away, so Hunter reached in closer and Brock shook his hand. Laurinaitis assumed that Hunter was there to congratulate the new face of WWE. Hunter said he was there to do what Laryngitis was supposed to do, but didn't have the guts or the nuts to do so. To go through with. Triple H then said Brock's days of holding up WWE are through. The private jet that you flew in on here today will not be taking you back home unless you want to pay for it. Hunter then said Triple H said the same is true for the limo. He said Brock won't be getting a raise and he won't be treated special. Triple H then said the name of the show is and always will be Monday Night Raw. Wait, what? That's when the what chant started. Triple H said no one is bigger than WWE. He assured Lesnar that he will get everything that's in the contract that Brock signed, not what he bullied Laurinaitis into giving him. Supposedly the new contract that Laryngitis was pulling out of his suit pocket. Laurinaitis said Triple H can trust him to do what's right with all contracts because he's the vice president of talent relations or whatever, president, whatever his jack-off position is. He said he doesn't think it's right that they go back on their word. Triple H tore up the paperwork, which was supposedly Brock's new contract, and said he would not approve of it because Laryngitis didn't have his approval. Hunter said Brock is not a country bumpkin. He said Brock is a true businessman and always has been. He said Brock knows that Laurinaitis didn't have the authority to grant what he did. Brock, don't get me wrong, Triple H said. I want you here in WWE. Hunter said the WWE Universe always wants Brock in WWE regardless of whether they like him or not. Triple H then said the fans want to see Brock in a rematch with Cena. He said they want to see him face CM Punk, Randy Orton, and Sheamus. Hunter then said that if that is going to happen, he will do so under the terms of the contract he signed. Hunter then said that if Brock chooses not to resign, it's fine. He said that if he wants to take his ball and go pack it away along with his loss to John Cena and go home, he's fine with that also. Hunter said he doesn't want that, and he doesn't think Brock wants that either. Laryngitis said that they didn't seem to put a talent of Lesnar's stature in that position. Triple H told him that he has it, and it's between him and Lesnar. Hunter then asked Brock to look at him. He said the original terms were more than fair, and he asked for what it's going to be. Laurinaitis Laurinaitis tried to interrupt. Hunter told him to shut up. Well, that sets up the screw job from behind. Triple H said he wants Lesnar in the WWE and asked if they had a deal. Laurinaitis interrupted again. Brock used the distraction to attack Triple H with an elbow to the back of the head or to the shoulders to knock him down. Hunter fired back with some shots after he got up, but Brock locked him in the Kimura lock while the announcer screamed that Lesnar had attacked the COO of the company. Sheamus, Big Show, R-Truth, and Kofi Kingston ran out for the save. But none to the fact that Triple H has a broken arm now. Lesnar tore the ring steps apart. Security came out, had no effect on Brock at all. They were all wearing suits for security, and you know how men in black with the black suits and what have you, and the red ties, sunglasses. Well, that's their security for tonight. They came out and just stood around Lesnar. He broke my arm, Triple H told the trainers that came out to check on him. The announcers kept selling the fact that Brock attacked the COO of the company. Brock eventually headed toward the back while the wrestlers helped Triple H get back to his feet. Commercial break. Everyone played their parts well. Triple H was especially strong, and Laurinaitis continues to be a riot. The only negative is that Hunter feels like more of a wrestler than an officer of the company. I assume Vince McMahon would have been in this role a few years ago, and it would have been more effective. That being said, they are probably setting up a match between the two at some point. By the way, this shouldn't be used to justify John Cena winning at the pay-per-view. After all, Brock could have won the match, and the same scenario could have taken place, minus Hunter taking a small dig about the loss to Cena being on Lesnar's record. After the break, the announcers narrated the highlights of what Brock had done, the Brock and Hunter brawl. Michael Cole said he believes Lesnar fired himself via his actions. Backstage trainers tended to Triple H while Sheamus was walking on the camera. Cole then says this was another example of Lesnar not getting what he wants and snapping. Lawler said he thought Hunter's arm snapped. Eve walked onto the stage and announced that the number one contender will be determined by a beat the clock challenge tonight. And said that there will be 5 matches, and the wrestler with the fastest win will go on to face CM Punk at the Over the Limit pay-per-view. Match number 1, which sets the time frame, The Miz versus Santana Marella in a beat the clock challenge. Lawler said he just received word that Lesnar had been escorted from the building. The announcers questioned Miz's approach when he locked in a throwaway hold at one point, and given the concept of the challenge. After back and forth action, Miz hit the Soul Crusher finale and scored the pinfall. So Miz defeated Santana Marella in a beat the clock challenge. The championship was out on the line at that point, and it set the beat the clock is set at 4 minutes 18 seconds. Well, Miz got the pay-per-view win back without getting the title. The match was only 22 seconds shorter than their free preview match at Extreme Rules. The Raw match was actually better than at the Hot Live crowd was really into it. Still shots aired of Layla beating Bella to win the WWE Divas Championship from the pay-per-view. Match number 2, a rematch. Layla versus Brie Bella versus Nikki Bella in a triple threat for the WWE Divas Championship. And for those that don't know, they're actually they extended their contract for one more day. Layla was all smiles, while the live crowd was all crickets during her entrance. The Bellas were talking. Layla drop kicked them into one another. One of the Bellas tumbled out of the ring. Layla rolled up the other to score the pin. So was this a match for the beat the clock? Because this would officially be 11 seconds. Well, according to the reporter, that's what the reporter was saying. Congratulations to Layla for winning the Beat the Clock Challenge. It's only for the men's. Chris Jericho made his way with his awesome WrestleMania 28 jacket. The announcers questioned who his opponent would be as they headed to the break commercial. For whatever it's worth, the arena website lists Punk versus Jericho and Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus as the top 2 matches for Over the Limit pay-per-view. Of course, the card is subject to change, so there you go. Match number 3, Chris Jericho versus Big Show and the Beat the Clock Challenge. This match was a screwed up finish. In my opinion, Jericho should have won and beat the time given. But it wouldn't have mattered anyways, because later on in this report you will see who actually becomes a winner. Or actually you will hear who becomes a winner. Well, the announcers explained the fluky manner in which Show lost the title at the pay-per-view. Show missed a second rope splash when Jericho moved. Jericho followed up with the lion salt, but Show kicked out of the pin attempt. Show came back with a spear for a near fall. The Miz was shown watching on a backstage monitor at that point. Jericho caught Show in a chokehold and pulled him over the top rope. Show recovered quickly, only to charge at Show and miss. Show tumbled over the barricade, crotching the barricade. Jericho climbed back inside the ring at the 9 count with 2 seconds remaining, but apparently the ref was on his little microphone again, and they didn't even know what to do again, and just declared that he did beat the count, but the time it expired. What a screwed up! I was so screwed up because he was in at the point. Not that I don't like, but I mean, if you slowed it down, he actually got in with 2 seconds remaining at the 9 count. And they said there was a confusion that they would sort it out after the break. If they had some confusion, the referee indicated that Jericho won with a second remaining on the clock. But they gave it still to the Miz after all the melee. Jericho and Big Show failed to beat the clock as their decision after the break. Either the referee effed up, or they'll announce the Miz survived after the break, which they did. The referee had just counted to 9 when the clock struck 0, and he quickly went to 10 and tried to say Jericho won after the clock expired. By the way, announcers should be spending more time putting over John Cena injury. I don't hang on there every word, so maybe I've missed something. But you think that they would be a major talking point all night leading up to his appearance, not just something they touch on a few times early in the show. Well, after the break, the announcers narrated shots of John Cena's Make-A-Wish charity work. Announcers then stated that Chris Jericho did not beat the clock in the last match. So the Miz time stands at 4 minutes and 18 seconds. I wonder if Jericho was supposed to win. The way the ref tried to speed the count up once the clock expired has me wondering. I assume that they would have come back to Jericho blowing a gasket after the announcement was made. If it was by design, maybe there's more to come. Match number 4, Brodus Clay with the Dancers versus JTG. Lawler said JTG told him that he had a surprise for Clay and seemed very confident. Clay won with a big splash, nothing much said, and the match took about 1 minute and 35 seconds. So whatever the surprise was, never happened. Give Lawler credit for trying to make the match interesting with that JTG conversation story. The live crowd was quiet until Clay hit the splash. No hornswoggle. However, Clay and the Dancers did bring 3 kids inside the ring. Clay slammed and splashed the children. It was horrible. Oh, wait. He just danced with them. The announcer spoke about the Brock Lesnar versus John Cena match from Extreme Rules. Lawler said he's been with the company since 1993 and has never seen anything like it. Cole said that the match lived up to the hype. Footage aired from the match. Back at the announcer's desk, Lawler said Cena was victorious, but it came at a costly price. Cole recapped the opening segment, and then footage aired of the opening segment with Triple H, Lesnar, and laryngitis. Lesnar versus Cena lived up to the hype. They could have thumb wrestled it, and it could have lived up to the hype. Anyway, they were playing this up huge, and rightfully so. When is the last time you saw an extended video package open the second hour of Raw? The announcers hyped that John Laurinaitis would be face-to-face with John Cena in the ring later in the show, in the program. Backstage, Eve told Teddy Long that his presence was upsetting Laurinaitis. She asked him to leave the room, and Teddy obliged. Eve told Laurinaitis that she understands that he lost Lesnar, and that he might be getting blamed for his attack on Triple H. She said he needs to decide what type of leader he is. She said he needs to decide who Cena's next opponent will be. He said he knows who it will be, and smiled, and Cena isn't going to like it. Next opponent? I thought Cena's arm was falling off or something. Randy Orton made his entrance. Michael Cole said Orton would be facing Jack Swagger in a Beat the Clock Challenge match after the break. The announcers then spoke over shots of the Kane versus Orton match from the pay-per-view. Randy Orton versus Jack Swagger with Vicky Guerrero in a Beat the Clock Challenge. With 40 seconds remaining in the match, Orton DDT'd Swagger off the middle rope, which is none other than the draping DDT. Orton struck the Viper's pose and went for the RKO, but Swagger avoided and applied the ankle lock. With 15 seconds left, Orton rolled out of it. Swagger stumbled into the corner, and Orton RKO'd him and got the win with 2 seconds left on the clock. So Randy Orton is now the Beat the Clock Challenge leader with 4 minutes and 16 seconds. Good work by everyone involved to orchestrate the finish at the time as the time counted down. By the way, WWE website has announced that the Bella Twins were fired, which is apparently code for their contracts expired, which was actually yesterday for 1 day, extended contract for today. Highlights in there, the Santino Marella and Zack Ryder beating Primo and Epico from last week. Primo and Epico with Rosa versus R-Truth and Kofi Kingston for the WWE Tag Championship was up next. Cole pimped the news about the Bella Twins being fired. The Faces were in control of the match when they went to a break roughly a minute into the match. The Chants were working over R-Truth after the break. Late in the match, Kofi regained control of the offense. Rosa stood on the apron to distract Kingston. Epico tried to hit the backstabber, but Kofi shoved him into Truth, who clotheslined him over the top rope. Kofi hit the Trouble in Paradise. Kick scored the clean pin, and they are the new Tag Team Champions of the World, Kofi Kingston and R-Truth. Congratulations, brothers. The announcers hyped that the Great Khali versus Kane in a Beat the Clock match for after the break. Well, what hype this was. Epico and Primo didn't get much of a chance as tag champs anyways. Worst of all, a title loss means no jiggling from Rosa. Honestly, it's hard to care about a tag title match given how little focus the straps get these days. By the way, I could think it would be great if Laurinaitis gave Brock the Beat the Clock Challenge match at the end of the show and he became the number one contender. Which there has not been a dark match results main event yet. And that will be posted on tomorrow's video with SmackDown. Then they showed a graphic touting that Raw and SmackDown can be seen in more homes in China than in the United States. Backstage, Primo, Epico, and Rosa were bickering. Abraham Washington showed up and said they wouldn't have lost the titles if they had been given the opportunity for him to represent them. Just make her jiggle again, Abe. Just make her jiggle. Kane versus Great Khali in a Beat the Clock Challenge match. Nothing more said. They didn't do it. Cole said the size of the two men makes it hard for them to be taken down and pinned so quickly. So of course Kane took Khali down in less than 2 minutes and went for a pin attempt. Lawler questions whether Khali can understand the concept of the match since he hadn't looked at the clock. One guy tried to start a Daniel Bryan chant. The crowd was too mesmerized by the match, classic, to care. Khali fired back with some offense late in the match. They both went for a choke slam and the clock expired. Well, after the buzzer sound came chokeslam Khali anyways. Randy Orton was shown smiling and pumping his fist. Yeah, doing his own little borgasm thing. Well, the announcer said that he has survived one more match. So they were unable to beat the clock. The announcers questioned who John Cena would face at Over the Limit. They said the opponent selected by John Laurinaitis when he and Cena met in the ring later. Cole said, we know who it won't be when that's Brock Lesnar, so it will probably be Brock Lesnar? Not. A shot aired of Daniel Bryan and, from backstage. Cole said Bryan would compete in the Beat the Clock Challenge match and said we'd find out who the identity of his opponent will be after the break. Since the time restrictions of the Beat the Clock Challenge prevented Kane and Khali from settling their differences, there can only be one solution. 1 hour Iron Man match. Hell, let's go 2 hours just to make sure we find who is better. Bryan winning the Beat the Clock Challenge and challenging Punk at Over the Limit would destroy the internet forever. An ad for SmackDown hyping Sheamus and Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan and Kane in a tag match, probably in your dark match main event. Okay, Daniel Bryan versus Jerry Lawler in the Beat the Clock Challenge. Bryan was thrilled by the development and started chanting his borgasm. As Orton was shown watching the match backstage on a monitor, the crowd didn't play along this week. Bryan was in charge early. Lawler got a little offense, but Bryan made a tap to the borgasm lock. After he did, Jerry Lawler did his normal little fist off the top rope finishing type thing. Bryan did the borgasm again after the match and didn't find any more chanters. CM Punk's music played and he walked on the stage, clapping his hands, holding up the title. Bryan went back stage, still chanting his borgasms. The internet just had its first orgasm. Cole then said Laurinaitis and Cena's segment was coming up after the break, which is your overrun, which lasted about 12 minutes total. Highlights aired of Brock Lesnar attack on Triple H from earlier in the show at ringside. Cole said Hunter's arm is bruised and broken. He said he assumed Lesnar fired himself in the process. John Cena made his entrance. He wore a sling on his bad arm. Cena looked into the camera and said, I made it. I'm here. Cena walked into the ring to the usual mix of cheers and boos. Cole said that Cena strained ligaments but did not suffer any structural damage. Cena noted that the x-rays showed no breaks and the MRI showed no tears. He said every muscle from his shoulder down his arm is strained. He said they send you home when you're injured. He said that when you're hurt, you get to come out and do what you do best. So I'm here, Cena said. Laurinaitis' music played. It's always this guy, Cena said. Laurinaitis said he was happy that Cena showed up. Cena introduces Laurinaitis in an over-the-top manner. The crowd booed. Cena joked that Laurinaitis bought no holds barred and lined up Cena versus Zeus to be his next opponent. Laurinaitis said he brought in Lesnar to motivate Cena. What? The crowd starts chanting. What you did was hire a mercenary to try to take me out, Cena said. Laurinaitis then said Laurinaitis said Lesnar pushed him into become the best John Cena possible. And then Cena would thank him. Cena thanked him for being a corporate jackass who sounds like he smokes thousands of cigarettes and brushes and has his head so far up his ass that he brushes his teeth with toilet paper. Cena then mocked Laurinaitis' voice a few times during the promo and did so again, mentioning people power. Laurinaitis says that he knows Cena isn't ready to compete now. He knows he loves to compete. Before Laurinaitis could say the name, and Lord Tensai's music played, and out he comes with Sakamoto as manager. Tensai and Sakamoto struck fighting poses on the opposite sides of Cena. Laurinaitis struck Cena over the head over the back of the head with a microphone. Your opponent at over the limit is none other than me, Laurinaitis announced. Tensai took shots at Cena, and so did Sakamoto. Laurinaitis told him to back off. Laurinaitis kicked Cena repeatedly instead. Tensai grabbed Cena and dragged him into the corner. Tensai and Sakamoto held Cena down, while Laurinaitis stomped on Cena's arm as they were about to wrap it around, but instead they just held it on the steel steps, and Laurinaitis just kicked him. Laurinaitis then grabbed a chair and put a chair shot to his arm. What has happened to him? Cole asked. Has the whole world gone crazy? John, what are you doing? Well, I don't think a boss can actually touch an employee. So will he be fired next week, or will they let him continue on his match at the next pay-per-view? And they closed the show with John Cena, Laurinaitis mocking John Cena's "You can't see me" routine and hovered over him. Cena held his arm in pain as Laurinaitis and Tensai and Sakamoto left the ring to close the show. Well, didn't see that coming. I don't think I'm alone. Part of the reason is, and what wasn't easy to see coming that what WWE went from Laurinaitis feuding with Punk to having him abruptly shift to Cena just weeks ago. It never reached the point where it felt like they were building to a match between them. Oddly enough, I think the match will actually draw better than Cena versus Tensai would at this point. Overall, the show was all over the place. It started strong and never really got back to that level. The story of Cena's strange promo at the pay-per-view, only to have him stick around to face Laurinaitis in a match, was just odd. I guess tonight was their way of writing off Lesnar for a bit, so they don't go over his so many dates. And that ends my video for this week and the report on Raw and Superstars for Thursday. Stay tuned tomorrow night for the rest of Superstars, NXT, and SmackDown.